Okay, so this is a wild story about a student named Mikey who tried to solve a really small problem with what he thought was a brilliant shortcut. The only thing is, that shortcut, it didn't just fail to work, it led him straight into a life-altering disaster. Let's get into it.
So it all kicks off with a scene that I'm sure we all know a little too well, the dreaded surprise pop quiz. For Mikey, who, hadn't done the reading, this is a total catastrophe. It's threatening his entire weekend, he's got a Minecraft tournament and a trip to Legoland lined up. The panic sets in immediately, and let's be real, we've all been there.
So what's going through Mikey's head? It's not, okay, how can I cram for this? Oh no. It's, how do I get out of this? The options he's running through are kind of hilarious. Pretend to be sick? Nah, he's already pulled that one 5 times. Fake a broken leg? A little over the top, probably tough to sell. The goal here isn't about passing the test. It's about getting out of it completely so he can get to the fun stuff. A classic case of looking for the easy way out.
And this, right here, is where a simple urge to skip a quiz spirals into an actual crime, all thanks to one truly terrible idea.
This is the moment everything changes. Mikey overhears a tech guy talking about this school's brand new security cameras. And what does Mikey hear? Not that there's a minor technical issue, but that the cameras flat out aren't working. To him, this is a golden ticket, a perfect, consequence-free chance to pull off a plan. He doesn't second-guess it for a second. He just hears what he wants to hear.
And just like that, his genius plan is born. Step 1, the cameras are off, for sure. Step 2, pull the fire alarm. The whole school gets evacuated, test is canceled. Simple. He even thinks he's being clever about forensics, planning to use his shirt to pull the handle so he doesn't leave fingerprints. In his mind, it's a foolproof plan. He escapes the test, heads to Legoland, and maybe even looks like a hero.
Now here's a really crucial moment. One of Mikey's friends actually warns him straight up. Dude, that's not a prank. That's an actual crime. But does Mikey listen? Nope, he completely blows it off. This isn't just a bad judgment call anymore. It's him consciously deciding the rules just don't apply to him because his plan is so slick.
And boom, he does it. One pull and that piercing siren screams through the hallways. For a split second, Mikey feels like a king. He did it. He got away with it. The test is gone. He thinks his problems are solved, but really, they're just getting started.
That feeling of relief? Yeah, it doesn't last long. The second the fire department shows up, this whole thing goes from a school issue to a serious investigation. The walls are about to close in fast as Mikey's little plan starts to fall apart.
When the fire captain starts asking questions, Mikey makes his first big mistake. Instead of just keeping his mouth shut, he tries to be clever. He invents a phantom suspect, telling the captain he heard someone running. It seems like a small lie, but it's the very first thread in a web that's about to tangle him up completely.
So who's on the case now? Well, you've got Principal Danvers, you've got Captain Stoll from the fire department, and the school janitor. It's a serious lineup. But the one witness Mikey was so sure he'd beaten was a security camera. And here it is, the big, crushing twist. In a moment of just perfect, awful timing for Mikey, the tech guy fixed the server right as the alarm was pulled. The one single thing his entire plan was riding on, not being seen, was totally wrong. The camera was on, it was recording everything.
And his story just keeps falling apart. He tells them he was in the boys' bathroom when the alarm went off. But here's the thing. The janitor was in that exact bathroom fixing a toilet that was overflowing. And he says, point blank, he never saw Mikey. His alibi is completely blown.
Okay, so beyond people seeing things and cameras rolling, investigators have another tool, forensic evidence. Basically, it's the tiny clues you leave behind without even knowing it. And in Mikey's case, the clue he left behind was, well, let's just say it was unique.
That's right, cheese dip. When the investigators checked the fire alarm handle for fingerprints, they didn't find any. But they did find a weird, greasy smear of cheese dip. I know it sounds ridiculous, but this is the final nail in the coffin.
So how on earth did cheese dip get on a fire alarm? Oh, the irony is just incredible. Turns out Mikey had been snacking on it in class, and to avoid leaving those fingerprints, he used his cheesy shirt to pull the handle, transferring the residue right onto the alarm. The very thing he did to hide his identity ended up leaving a signature that was 100% his. So, with his lies totally exposed and physical evidence pointing right at him, the game is officially over. And now, the consequences he tried so hard to dodge are about to become terrifyingly real.
I mean, this picture says it all, doesn't it?
On the left, you've got the temporary stress of a pop quiz. And on the right, you've got the grim, very permanent reality of getting arrested. He traded a small, totally manageable problem for a huge, life-changing one. When he's finally caught, what's the first thing out of Mikey's mouth? "Please don't tell my mom. I just wanted to go to Legoland." He's still thinking like a kid who's about to get grounded. But the reality, as the fire captain points out, is that pulling a fire alarm is a serious crime. There's this massive gap between what he's worried about and what he should be worried about.
And this is the moment it all comes crashing down. The principal is ready to handle it in-house, but the police officer steps in and makes it clear. This is a criminal investigation now. Mikey's being arrested and taken downtown. This is way, way beyond a trip to the principal's office.
And his mom's reaction just says it all. As Mikey is literally pleading not to have his tablet taken away, she's in absolute shock. He's worried about his toys and his trips. She's terrified her son might actually be sent to juvenile detention. The true weight of what he's done finally hits the room. So, after all of that chaos, what's the actual lesson here? Let's quickly break down the true cost of Mikey's shortcut.
The big takeaways here are pretty clear. What started as a shortcut for a minor problem snowballed into a major crime. And with today's technology, getting away with this stuff is basically impossible. These aren't just pranks. They have very real, very serious consequences. At the end of the day, the price of lying was so much higher than the price of just taking the test.
Let's just look at the final math on this. What did Mikey want? To skip a 1-hour test and go to Legoland. And what did it actually cost him? A suspension from school, a police arrest, a totally trashed reputation, and yeah, that trip to Legoland? Canceled. All of that just to avoid studying for an hour.
In the end, Mikey learned an incredibly hard lesson. Running from your problems doesn't make them disappear. It almost always makes them bigger. It's a really powerful reminder for all of us to just face our challenges head-on, no matter how much we want to avoid them. So it kind of leaves us with one last question to think about. What pop quiz are you facing, and how are you going to choose to handle it?